Hello there Dragon Quest fans, it's Haz here, and today we've got a fairly big update about Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, and trust me, you're gonna love this one. If you've been keeping up with the remake news, you'll know that we're in for some bigger changes to the core gameplay. We're talking about a complete modernization of the core mechanics. Vocations like warriors and martial artists are now pretty much confirmed getting modern Dragon Quest abilities that were never in the original. Like, if you're not as versed in the history of Dragon Quest, abilities that aren't spells were introduced later in the series, so martial characters didn't have their iconic abilities like, let's say, Giga Slash for instance. But if you did play the original Dragon Quest III, you know that back then combat was fairly straightforward. You had your basic attacks and of course your spells. That was pretty much the classic Dragon Quest gameplay. But here's where things are getting exciting. In the HD-2D remake, they're completely shaking things up by introducing abilities for vocations like warriors, martial artists, or even the new vocation, the Monster Wrangler. These weren't in the original game at all, so I'm not just talking about a few new spells added into the game. If every vocation will be like what was teased in some of the Japanese gameplay footage, then we'll have a bunch of new abilities from the series added back into the remake of this older title. So what exactly would these abilities be then? Well, if you played a newer Dragon Quest, pretty much anything that martial characters possessed, and then since there are also a bunch of different weapon types, that could also mean the addition of each weapon-based ability, so that could mean all the different sword slashes for swords, multi-fists for fisticuffs, and so on. And then we aren't even touching the vocation-based abilities that can be incredibly fun, like for the Gadabout. This is a whole new system we've never seen in Dragon Quest III originally before, and it's going to completely change how you approach the game with the amount of freedom it already has. So what is the great news then that was announced yesterday? In Dragon Quest III, you know you're able to change your vocations and have combinations of builds for yourself, so when switching a vocation you were able to keep the spells from your previous one, allowing you to combine to your heart's will. This was core to the gameplay experience. Now, the official Dragon Quest account has just tweeted yesterday that in the remake, once you switch a vocation, you will be able to keep both the spells and the abilities too after switching a vocation, and that's potentially a massive change. This new information opens up a ton of new possibilities for us. Imagine just having all of the most powerful abilities of the different vocations, depending on what we will get in the end, all in a single character. It just sounds nuts, not to mention how much fun grinding it out is going to be. On top of that, as I mentioned briefly before, we're also getting a new vocation added, the Monster Wrangler, or Monster Master if you prefer. This vocation traditionally lets you recruit and battle with monsters, and so the Monster Battle Road Arena is also apparently getting added as a feature, along with all the different abilities that will be unique to it on top of everything else. Now, all of this is honestly extremely cool, as Dragon Quest III was already quite popular for its freedom and customization of the different vocations, and in the remake, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say the list of abilities and spells are basically going to be doubled, and all the different vocations are going to be that much more impactful and fun to mix and match however you like, or whichever abilities you'd like to get in your playthroughs. It's not a surprise that a lot of fans are already comparing this remake to Dragon Quest IX for the amount of customization it's going to have. So with these two new additions to the remake, the new abilities and the option to keep all these abilities along with your spells, will boost the replayability and fun of this classic to some brand new heights, and depending on what other fun secrets or new content they have for us, I'm actually incredibly excited to see just how much content we're really getting in the end. And then we have next year as well, looking forward to the remake of Dragon Quest I and Dragon Quest II. So that's all I really wanted to mention today, folks. What do you think? Are you as excited as I am? I'm very hyped for this release, and with everything new added into it, I'm not even sure if I want to replay the original before it as a refresher or not, and just go into it with as much excitement as possible. Quite curious, in fact, are you planning on playing the original Dragon Quest III before the remake is here? Let me know below. Dragon Quest III HD-2D is going to release on the 14th of November. It's still quite some time away, so bear with me. But until then, if you're interested in more Dragon Quest content and you like this video, subscribe for more. Thank you for your support and watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all the next time.